Hey guys, and welcome back to Dan's Pro Shop. Today we are doing a little bit of upgrading on the old camper, RV, travel trailer, tow behind, whatever you want to call it. If you have one of these things and it's relatively stock, I'm sure that you're familiar with the issue that we're dealing with today. We are going to be upgrading the tail lights because even though these things cost an arm and a leg and the price of your firstborn child, the majority of them still come with crappy, no good 1157 incandescent lights. There are a lot of LED, yes, I'll give them that. But the most important ones that let people behind you know that you're stopping are crappy incandescent lights. So we found a cheap Amazon option that fits right in the hole. It's the same connector, but we might improve a little bit since we're in there. You can always make things better. But let's go out there and take a gander, and I'll show you what's up. So, for those of you unaware, if you're watching this, you probably are well aware. These are the factory tail lights, running lights, brake lights, turn signals, whatever, on your RV, or at least the majority of them. You see here, it's just a standard 6-inch, like you can go to like any truck supply or a truck stop or something across the highways of America and get a 6-inch light that fits in here. Well, we found these LED ones by Nightlight on Amazon. I believe the kit was like $15. Don't quote me, but I'll link them in the description if you're interested. These are the exact same size. They come with its own pigtail and a new bezel. So, in simplicity's sake, if you'd like to, you can simply pull this out, plug in the new one to the existing harness, pop it in. Whenever we get in here, I'll show you what I mean about this connector. So the one that's on here, it does fit. It's the same orientation for the pins and everything. It does fit. However, the wiring in these things are absolutely atrocious. If you own one of these things, if you've done any kind of repair or fixing or whatever, you are well aware of how terrible the wiring is in these things. And the taillights are no exception. It's just a crappy little crimp connector. Half the wires are hanging out. Everything's exposed to the elements. It's just a recipe for disaster. This is going to be a problem if it isn't already. So since we're going through the trouble of doing this, we're going to do a little bit of repairing and fixing and making stuff better while we're in there. So let me tear this thing out. Let me show you how easy it is. And, option A, easy one. Option B, the little more involved, but I suggest way better. So you guys can see here, we have a rubber bezel around the 6-inch light. It'll take a little bit of prying, but there is not much to it getting this guy out of here. You see here, we have, come on, a 3-pin plug, which just so happens to be the exact same orientation and fits in the new light. So if you'd like to, this is pretty much finished. You plug it into the new one, slap this in there, and for all intents and purposes, you can be done. However, let me show you what I mean about this wiring. So here we are with the pigtail that would plug into the light. There's actually grease on this, which, I mean, it's something, thank goodness. But what I'm concerned about, look at these wire nuts back here. This is just terrible. Like, you can see the strands in these things, and honestly, I'm amazed that this red one is still in there. I mean, look at that. And this all lives inside of your bumper tube, exposed to all the elements and everything while you're going down the road. So my plan is we're going to utilize the new pigtail that came with the new light, which you can tell here there's a better splash guard on here, and I just feel a lot better about this. We are going to take apart these connections, put this one together properly with heat shrink and maybe some solder connections, but whatever. This is an unnecessary step, but I feel like it is very necessary. So if you're interested, stick around for that. So my plan is we are going to take these connectors right here, which are a little bit of a hybrid. They're kind of crimp and kind of solder. So you see the large part in the middle, the bigger diameter right in the center there? That is a bead of low temp melt solder. And then the smaller chunks on either side of that are crimp terminals. And this whole thing is housed inside of a weather tight shrink fit tube, if you will. So not only can you put everything in there and then crimp it to hold it together securely, but then you heat this thing up to shrink it and it solders your connection as well. So we're gonna cut out these crappy wire nuts with everything hanging out of there, and it's just a disgusting way to put this together. Replace everything with the new pigtail and these good connections. As well as the lights, I will link these down in the description, and the tools that you'll need to do this. So let's get the hack in here. So first things first, I strongly suggest whenever you're cutting off the old pigtail, leave a little chunk inside of the connection that you're taking off. This way, if for whatever reason you get confused, you know which wires go where. Because with these campers, wiring scheme means nothing. I mean, look, it's just green, brown, white, there's purple, there's yellow, there's just whatever. This is just a good, so you know what's where. We'll go ahead and strip back a decent length, I'd say about ½ inch or so. Twist these guys together just a little bit, keep them together, and then we'll go ahead and take our new connection for the new light and match it up the exact same way. So we're going to do black to green just the same way that the factory wiring was. Put this all together. Get that down in there as far as you can. Put your pigtail on the other side. Now we can crimp this down. Go ahead and give her a crimp. And a crimp on the other side. Now we know for sure that the wires aren't coming out, and this gives us a lot of freedom and leeway, so whenever we do our torching or use a heat gun, whatever you'd like. But now we can put this all together. I don't know how well you guys are going to be able to see this, but just take note to how this melts. The heat shrink comes together, and then that center portion will also start to melt the solder. Now that is about as good of a field fix as you are ever going to find. Now as we're letting that cool down, we'll simply go ahead and do the other two. Now that we have all this done, everything's all soldered and reconnected with our fancy new harness for the new light. Granted, the old one will work, but I feel like this is a way better option. Take you some dielectric grease. Put it on the pins on the plug. because this thing is so exposed to the elements, a little bit of grease goes a long way in keeping these terminals from corroding. Honestly, anytime you do anything electrical that's outside on your vehicle, you know, off-road vehicles, RVs, whatever, if something lives outside in the elements, dielectric grease on all of your connections. You will not be sorry. So now we take our new light with our new harness, snap it together. Come on. There we go. Tuck everything back in here all nice and neat. And shove her in the bezel. Come on. There we go. Brand new, factory OEM looking, but better than this factory OEM. We've replaced the wiring harness. We've significantly fixed connections. But now you do that exact same thing on the other side, and we'll do a function test. Take a look at this one, guys. This is exactly what I was talking about. I just pulled it out of the bumper, and we already have a wire disconnected because of these crappy connections. So if nothing else, even if you're not replacing these, just pull them out to check this, because this is potentially a problem. As dumb as maybe you even getting pulled over for this, but now we're here, we're fixing it, it'll be good for the rest of forever. Perfect. See why I was stressing earlier in the video about how important this crap is because of how garbage it is. I've never even touched this thing. I just knew that I wanted to upgrade these lights from incandescent to LED, but now I'm darn glad I did because that was disconnected. And honestly, I don't know for how long. I mean, whenever I hook up to leave, I always check like my running lights and everything. But who knows? Maybe my brake light wasn't turning on. How long has that been a problem? Since I bought it? Did it just happen last week? I don't know. But now I know for sure it is repaired and it's going to work correctly. Now, speaking of working correctly, you may be asking yourself, how are you going to check all this crap without having a vehicle hooked up to it? Well, there is a little kind of like a way around that. Let's go up to the front of the trailer and I'll show you how. Now, here we are up at the front of the trailer with the plug where it would normally plug in to your tow vehicle. And this is a very standard, typical 7-pin round connector. Now, if you can imagine, all of these pins do different things. Now, if you want to just turn your marker lights on, this is an awesome little hack. Take yourself a regular flat blade fuse. Now, I'll do my best to try to put a diagram up here on the screen, as well as I'll link one in the description. It's a diagram that tells you what these pins do, like where they go, what they're supposed to do. So we are simply going to jump 12 volts hot to the marker lights with this fuse. Now you can do this with a wire or something or anything, but I strongly suggest using a fuse, a small one, like a 1.5 or a 2 amp or something. So if you do this incorrectly, or like maybe you messed up some wiring, it's gonna pop this fuse and not like blow anything up. So what we're gonna do is with the notch, like the indexing notch on this plug, up at 12 o'clock, go right across the top too. So we're gonna jump 12 volt hot to our running lights. Put this guy in here. Now we have lights on the trailer. Voila, check that out, man. This worked absolutely perfectly. Now, I'm not going to drag you through the mud with doing like brake and turn signal and everything. You can figure that out with the wiring diagram and the little fuse trick. Now, you may need to use a wire to get to different places. The fuse only works if you go from one to the one right next to it. But either way, this works out awesome. So guys, that's about it. There's really not much to it. And I just now realized that I didn't really give you a before and after with the incandescent light versus the LED. But if you have the incandescent lights, you know, I don't really need to tell you. And it's, you know, use your imagination, if you will. But I mean, there's nothing to it. And like, even if you're a little skeptical on the electronic part of it, it's not bad. I mean, like I mentioned out there, just cut the wires a little bit outside of the wire nut so you have a reference. You know what went where. And man, we found that broken wire as soon as I pulled it out. So I'm really, really glad that I did this. But man, there's really nothing to it. You need a pair of wire strippers, a pair of crimpers, some kind of heat source, whether it's a heat gun or a torch or whatever you choose to use, a little bit of dielectric grease, which I feel is a must have, and the light kit. So, I mean, if you already have the tools and stuff, for less than 20 bucks, you're getting out of this job. I feel like this is so worth it, and I guarantee it'll upgrade your stuff just like it did mine. So if you are interested, go ahead and check out the link down in the description. Just for giggles, I'll go ahead and link all the tools and everything too, just in case you need them. But super simple job. 10 minutes in and out, and it's a solid upgrade. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. We'll see you next time.